Saludos! So today we're going to get into the first of the really critical things for expressing yourself in Spanish. We're going to learn how to use our verbs. Now for today we're just going to do AR verbs, the verbs that end in AR, just the regular ones because there's too many irregulars to worry about, and just in the present tense. Now, most textbooks, when they give this pattern, they use a standard verb like hablar or maybe estudiar, and that's fine. But I decided to go with something a little bit more colorful. Sangrar is the verb to bleed. So if heaven forbid you need this verb, you need to know it well so that you can express to someone, sangro, I'm bleeding. You see what we do here. We cut off the AR, we replace it with an O if it's the yo form. Yo sangro, I bleed. Tu sangras, you're bleeding. Él sangra, he's bleeding. Ella sangra, she's bleeding. Usted sangra, your grace, you are bleeding. Sangramos, we're all bleeding. The bus crashed. Y ahora sangramos, now we're all bleeding. How horrible. If you're going to Spain and you need sangráis, vosotros sangráis, y'all are bleeding. Okay, fine. I'm not going to use that one in regular life, but it could happen. Sangran, they're bleeding, or maybe you guys are bleeding. Ustedes sangran. Just for the sake of completion, if you're learning vos, it will be vos sangras with the accent mark on the a, on the final a, but no I. That's the difference between vos sangras and vosotros sangráis. But most people, most textbooks leave that out, and most people are not going to need it. And if you use tu sangras when you go to Argentina, people will know what you mean. You'll be fine. So, sangro, sangras, sangra, sangramos, sangran. So this is a handy verb to know because I hope you won't need it. Hopefully bleeding is not something that comes up often enough that you'll need to know it. But it's an easy one to remember. Other bodily functions that I hope you don't need to talk about too much. Vomitar. I'm sure you can figure out what that means. The forms are, of course, vomito, vomitas, vomita, vomitamos, vomitan. If you're learning vosotros, vomitáis. If you're going to use vos, vomitas. Orinar, to urinate. You might forget how to say ¿Dónde está el baño? And you might need to instead say Necesito orinar, I have to urinate. Hopefully that won't come up in your life, but same forms as all of the others. Orino, orinas, orina. Defecar is defecate, it's what it looks like. And estornudar is to sneeze. Estornudo, estornudas, estornuda, estornudamos, estornudan. Sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. Here are 3 handy verbs. They're handy because you can use them obviously with a noun. Desear is to wish or to desire. So deseo doesn't matter that you have. Oh, why did I have an extra vowel in there? Desear. It doesn't matter that you have an extra vowel next to it. You cut off the AR. And how do you say I want, I wish, I desire? Deseo. You want, you wish, you desire, deseas. He wishes, she wishes, desea. It wishes, desea. Usted, you wish, desea. Deseamos, we wish. Oh, wrong side of that. Deseamos. Or, of course, if they wish or you guys wish, y'all wish, desean. Un postre, a dessert. Deseo un postre. Yo también deseo un postre. Desear, handy verb. Esperar is to wait for or to hope for. And sometimes students ask, why are waiting and hoping the same thing? Go to Puerto Rico and wait for la guagua. Wait for the bus. Or Cuba, Dominican Republic, lots of countries. And you'll understand why waiting and hoping are the same thing. A veces llega, a veces no llega. So esperar, to wait or to hope. Espero la guagua. Espero el autobús. Notice you don't need a for. It's just espero el autobús. There's no word in there to represent the for. It's just waiting for, hoping for, espero. Espero el autobús. Necesitar. Yo necesito dinero. Siempre. Siempre es cierto. Yo necesito dinero. Ya. ¿Tú también necesitas dinero? Te creo. Ella necesita dinero. Él necesita dinero. Usted necesita dinero. Nosotros todos necesitamos dinero. Ellos necesitan dinero. Ustedes necesitan dinero. Todas las posibilidades. These three verbs are also very handy because you don't have to follow them with a noun, like dinero, autobús, postre. You can follow them with a verb. So if you need to say to somebody, I need to urinate, necesito orinar. I need to vomit, necesito vomitar. I hope that's not a thing that you're going to have to say often, but it could come up. Necesito defecar, I hope not. Necesito estornudar. If you have to sneeze, you probably don't have time to say I need to sneeze, but who knows? ¿Quién sabe? Oh, maybe instead you need to dance. Necesito bailar. But you can also conjugate bailar. You can say, who is dancing? Bailo. I dance. Cantar, to sing. Cantas. You sing. Cantas una canción. Yo bailo el tango. Yo bailo un baile. I dance a dance. Tú cantas una canción. You sing a song. Él mira obras de arte. He looks at works of art. ¿Por qué no? Oh, escuchar. Escuchamos música. Ellos escuchan música. They listen to music. Or maybe escuchan un concierto. They listen to a concert. Escuchan una comedia. They're listening to a play. Why not? Comedia can be comedy, like in English, but it's also, like the old-fashioned word for obra de teatro, a theater play, like something you watch on the stage. Could be either one, depending on context. You'll figure it out. Tocar, tocamos la guitarra. I don't know why we're all playing one guitar, but, let's run with it. Tocamos música, we play music. Tocar is very literally to touch. But, when you play an instrument, you have to touch it. So I touch the guitar. Toco la guitarra. Or tocamos música. We play music. We touch music. Why not? Pintar, to paint. Un cuadro, a painting, like a portrait or a landscape or something. But, of course, you could pintar, I don't know, el cuarto. You could paint the room. Pintar la pared, pintar no sé, la puerta, whatever it is. You can pintar. Trabajar, to work. Here are some places you might work. Yo trabajo en una oficina. Yo no trabajo en una tienda. Yo no trabajo ahora en una fábrica. I used to, but I don't anymore. We're not learning used to today. Trabajo, trabajas, trabaja. Oh, ganar dinero is to earn money. Ganar la vida is to earn a living. Gano dinero trabajando en una oficina. Trabajo en una oficina y gano dinero. Ganar un premio would be not to earn a prize, but to win a prize. Like, I don't know, ganar la lotería, perhaps. Comprar, to buy. Compro, compras, compra, compramos, compran. Un cupón de lotería. Compramos un cupón de lotería. We buy a lottery ticket, and if it wins, we're going to fight over who gets the money. Because compramos, we're doing it together. That seems like a bad idea. Cocinar, to cook. Obviously, you're going to cocinar comida. But comida can be food, but it can also be una comida, like a meal, like preparar. Have I given you the word preparar? It's preparar. And again, you can preparar comida or una comida, a meal. Tomar una cerveza. Tomar is to take, but if you use it with a beverage, it pretty obviously means to drink. Tomo una cerveza. Tú tomas 3 cervezas. Tú estás borracho. Oh, tomar una siesta is to take a nap. You could also use the verb descansar. So, descansan, they're resting. Now, descansar could be just, to sit down. We're out on a hike. Necesito descansar. I need to rest. I need to sit down for just a minute. I'm not going to lie down and take a nap while we're out hiking. But descansar could be to sit and catch your breath. It could be to sleep for, 8 hours. You can also tomar un taxi, tomar el tren, tomar el autobús, lo que sea. To go along with tomar, drink, cocinar, cook. Desayunar is something else you do with food. To eat breakfast. The verb ayunar is to fast, to go without food. So ayuno, I'm fasting. Someone says, oh, ¿deseas un postre? Would you like a dessert? No, lo siento, ayuno, I'm fasting. Ayunas, are you fasting? Ayuna, he's fasting. Ayunamos, we're fasting. Ayunamos porque es Cuaresma, because it's Lent. Porque es Yom Kippur. Porque es Ramadan. Porque es Ekadasi. Whatever. There's all sorts of days when you might fast. Or maybe ayuna porque va al médico mañana. He's fasting because he's going to the doctor tomorrow. So when you stop fasting, it's desayunar, to unfast, or as we say in English, to break one's fast. Desayuno por la mañana. I breakfast in the morning. Desayunas? Do you have breakfast? Not everybody does. Other side of the day, cenar is to eat dinner, to dine. Ceno, cenas, cena, cenamos, cenan. Estudiar, of course, is what you're doing now. Estudias el español. Yo estudio el hebreo porque es difícil. Nosotros estudiamos lenguas. Muy bien. So, a good word to know as well. Here are 3 words that you might use for all the same thing. Platicar is what I do. Yo platico. Pero tú tal vez conversas. Maybe you chat or converse. Or maybe you charla. Tal vez usted charla. Maybe you use the formal form. It's not formal, but I mean usted. Charlar, conversar, platicar, they're all versions of to chat, to, converse, to speak. Of course, they're also synonyms of the verb hablar, but the difference is when you stand in front of an audience, that's also hablar. But it's not conversar or charlar or platicar. So hablar can be what you do with your friends, your neighbors, or it could be into a computer like I'm doing now. It could be in front of an audience. It could be something like that. Or it could be, ¿hablas español? Do you speak Spanish? Sí, hablo español. Pasear is to go for a walk. Caminar is just to walk. Caminar could be how I get to the train station. Pasear is what I do in the evening to stretch my legs, or in the morning, or whatever. And then I've given you some frequency words, but before we get to those, let's, for example, let's use bailar as an example here. Bailar, to dance. So if I say, for example, bailo, I can put in the yo. I don't have to put in the yo. It's a perfectly good sentence if I leave the yo out. If I say yo bailo, it's the same thing as saying bailo. Es igual. It translates 3 different ways into English, whichever one you say. So, of course, it can mean I dance. Or it could mean I am dancing. ¿Qué haces mañana? Oh, bailo. What are you doing tomorrow? I'm dancing. It could even be the emphatic I do dance. So this one is more likely if someone says to you, tú no bailas, you don't dance. Then you might say, yo sí bailo. I do dance. It's like, I do too dance. Yo sí bailo. But it's the emphatic one. If you make it negative, of course, yo no bailo, which is the same thing as saying no bailo. None of you are gonna say I dance not. That's not a thing that's gonna come up for most of you. You would say either I am not dancing or I do not dance. That's how you would make it negative in English. You would either use the present progressive, I'm not dancing, or I do not dance with the helping verb do. We don't need no stinking helping verbs in Spanish. We just put the no to the left of bailo, and there you go. If you want to ask somebody, baila usted, you're probably going to reverse the word order, put the verb first, and then the subject pronoun after. But it's the same question if you just ask baila. Someone will know from context that you're asking, do you dance? Not does he dance, or does she dance, or does it dance? So none of you would say, dancest thou? This is not a question any of you would ask, I'm quite confident. But you might ask, are you dancing? Or you might ask, do you dance? So different ways of translating it into Spanish. If you're talking about the future, like you're saying, I'm doing this tomorrow. Mañana bailo. You just use the present simple. It's not like in English where we have to either use the future, I will dance, I shall dance, I'm going to dance, or where we'll use the present progressive, I am dancing. You can use the present simple to talk about the near future, like for planned things. In general, it'll be, either something you're doing at the moment or something you do in general, habitually. But it has these three different ways of translating into English on average. I dance, I am dancing, I do dance, resulta igual. And I thought you would do well to have some frequency words at this point. So the first two, jamás and nunca, both mean never. Jamás is like never, seriously never. If you ask me, I don't know, ¿viajaste a Prague? ¿A Praga? Did you visit Prague? Did you travel to Prague? No, jamás, because I've never been to Prague, like in my life. If someone says, oh, do you visit your mom? Oh, nunca visito a mi mamá. It doesn't mean I've not met her. It doesn't mean I refuse to visit. It's just like, oh, I'm a bad son. I don't visit enough. Something like that. This is the never that we say like, oh, I never exercise. You do. Oh, I never eat that. You probably do if you have a reaction to it. On the other hand, if someone says, have you ever eaten, this really expensive cheese from Sardinia that's full of, I don't know, worms? You say, no, jamás. Like, I've never tried that. I've never been to Sardinia. I've never had cheese with worms, as far as I know. Why are they in parentheses? Because you need to be careful with them. For right now, what I'm going to say is if you want to use them, put them to the left of your verb. So, for example, nunca bailo, I never dance. If you want, you can make a double negative, no bailo nunca, but for today, I'm not worried about that. Of course, you can say, that you do something once, una vez, or dos veces, or tres veces, 3 times, etc. Unas veces is like unas cuantas veces, a few times. Unas cuantas veces. De vez en cuando is every now and then. Like, it's not often. De vez en cuando viajo a la playa. I travel to the beach. De vez en cuando. A veces, sometimes. Sometimes. A menudo, often. I would say is about the same frequency as frecuentemente, frequently. To me, in English and in Spanish both, often, frequently, they're kind of the same thing. A menudo, frecuentemente. Yeah. On the other hand, siempre is always. Now, if you're in chapter, 1, 2, 3 of your textbook as you're taking Spanish in college or in high school, you probably have a long list of vocabulary. It might be like this list. It might be very different from this list. The book I used to use, we had, I think, 30 verbs in chapter 1. And what one of my colleagues would do, she would have the students write out all of the forms. So they would write hablar, hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan. We didn't bother with vosotros or vos. And, do that for all 30 of them. So they're writing 180 words. And I'm pretty sure if you do that, you're going to know that the endings are o, as, a, amos, an. But you might not know what the words actually mean. So what I usually suggest to students is take your vocabulary list and make 1 or maybe 2 flashcards for each one. So for caminar, for example, you might just make one for caminar, and you would then, on the other side of the flashcard, whether it's a physical flashcard or you're doing it on one of the online programs, you would put to walk. Pasear, don't put pasear, put paseo, and then put, for example, to take a walk. No, not to take. Who's taking it if paseo? I take a walk. Or maybe I go for a stroll. That's a terrible example because you're writing forever to get that on the page, but you get the idea. Hablas, you speak. Platica. Platica, who's doing it if it's platica? Put he, she, it, you. Chat. Chat is a good translation. Estudiamos. What will you put for estudiamos? You'll put we study. Cenan. You'll put they / you guys, y'all, however you say you in the plural form. They or y'all eat dinner or dine, however you say it. Desayuno. I have breakfast. Etc. Make 1 or 2 flashcards for each word. If you have a word like ganar in the list that, has different meanings, or a verb like tomar, that is to take but is also to drink, maybe make a different flashcard for each one. I would not make 180 flashcards for 30 vocabulary words. By the time you get done doing that, you'll be sick of the whole process. You won't want to mess with it at all anymore forever. Done. So, vomito, I puke. Orinas, you urinate. Defeca, he defecates. Estornudamos, we are sneezing. Just go through and make 1 or maybe 2 forms, two flashcards for each one. Maybe make 1, verb into 6 flashcards. Desear. Desear, to wish, to hope. To wish or to desire. Deseo, I wish. Deseas, you wish. Desea, he, she, it wishes, you wish. Etc. Maybe, make 5 or 6 for 1 or 2 of the verbs. But don't do it for all of them, because you'll get tired of the whole obnoxious process. But that way you can make 30, maybe 60 flashcards, and you can learn your vocabulary and your endings all at the same time. If you want to take a highlighter and highlight vomitas, you puke, just highlight the as on the end there, then I think you're good to go. But this way you can internalize both the pattern and also the vocabulary, which you probably have a lot of. So in this lesson, I've given you several nouns to go with most of the verbs. Not one for everything, but most of them you have something. You probably wouldn't need to say desayuno, desayuno. I eat breakfast for breakfast. But you could add the thing that you're having for breakfast. You could add the name of the food. Desayuno, no sé, huevos con migas, something like that. So, cenamos chuletas de cerdo, something like that. We're having pork chops for dinner, whatever. You can add the food afterwards. But it's all pretty straightforward. Okay. Chao, que practiquen bien. Hasta luego. Bye-bye.